What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to try my best with the GoPro to show you how to install a PMAS intake, a ported Boss 302 manifold, and in here I have MU52 injectors from a GT500. With all these parts combined, my car should be able to make a pretty nice increase in power. Now, one thing whenever you're getting the Boss 302 manifold is they sell a relocation kit online for about $32 for the purge valve relocation. If you want to save the money, you can go to any auto parts store. I picked this 2 feet of 3/8 fuel line hose and clamps for $19.50, and that will help you. Down in there under the cover, there is a purge valve with a line that needs to be removed in order to allocate the increased size of the air intake and the Boss 302 manifold, specifically the manifold, as well as that they also give you the items that you'll need to cap the sound induction tube that goes into your firewall for the interior. So without further ado, I'm going to start on this and hopefully I can get most of it recorded. So once you're under the engine bay, what I'm going to start off doing is, since the manifold for the Boss 302 is much higher than the factory 11 to 14, I have to take this strut tower brace off. After that, I'm going to start slowly working my way around the engine bay, starting off at the intake and slowly taking off all the pieces required. A lot of this you can pretty well put together with whichever mod you're actually doing at the time. I'm trying to get all of it in one video. If need be, leave some comments and I can try and make maybe some YouTube shorts to show specific things that I learned along the way. For now, I'm gonna get to everything for the strut tower and the current air intake. All right, for the strut tower brace, you've got 13 mil bolts. Those are pretty easy to get up out of here. Correction, these are actually nuts, but another thing to point out while you're doing all this, make sure you disconnect your battery. I just hadn't gotten to a point where I needed to yet, but I figured while I'm over in the area, might as well get that out of the way. And ignore that duct tape job, that is from the previous owner. Whole other problem, but yes, once you get all that done, disconnect your battery, you'll have these 4 nuts left, then you should just be able to lift this up and off. Once you've got that strut brace out of the way, make sure you put the nuts back on. How in the hell? What? Not sure what that was. So that is case in point as to why you should disconnect your battery. So I'm gonna do that right now. And if you wanna be super safe with it, you can take a glove or something and just tuck it around so that way it can't make contact with metal. So over here, take some channel locks, pull that downward, it just pops right off. And then right here, you can use the socket. I've just got this flathead next to me, so I'm gonna do it this way. But basically take this little clamp loose, turn it up and out of the way. That should free this up. There we go, it's off there. Under here, you'll have another one of these clips. You should just be able to find a release on the underside. Also, this piece can just be pulled up and pushed out of the way for now. And that'll give you a little bit more breathing room to get under this clip. Okay, so that clip's being stubborn. I'm just going to take it off up here by the throttle body and see if that gives me a little bit more room to play with. Probably gonna be the easiest clip in the world, and I'm just not apparently smart enough to understand. All right, there we go. Throttle body looks really, really clean. And up here, feel like I should just be able to pull that up. I'm gonna set that behind the hood prop. You can also try and wedge it in a different spot if you have hydraulic struts. I don't yet. So now that we are underneath this, push that downward. For me, it's kind of hidden behind, but you just push that down and it releases. So we'll roll that out of the way, set this over here. Then what I'm going to do next, make sure you find a Torx that actually fits that. You do not want to strip that piece. Ah, dang it, it's at home. This should be 0.15. Yep, I was correct. In my case, I have to use a wrench. I highly advise using a ratcheting screwdriver. Be very careful taking this off. Shouldn't take much pressure at all. One screw that we don't want to lose. Second screw that we don't want to lose. Do your best to pull this out as gently as possible. Yep, there we go. Had some like sap stuck to it, but from here, pull that connector down. Should just be able to disconnect it. Now is a good time to look around, make sure that there's no debris. I would maybe set this in something. I'm going to go set this in my toolbox so that way I know it's in a safe place that doesn't get any debris or anything in it. So the next step I'm actually going to do is down here. That looks to be a 10mm. Oh yeah, perfect. That was exactly what I wanted to see. So there we go. We've got this bolt out of the way. I'm just gonna start a collection in there of the factory parts. Okay, and then that just pulls right out. There we go. So if you just push it out, it'll bend back the other way. Take your factory air box, set it off to the side, and then while you're in here, see if there's anything that you need to do cleaning wise. And then now it's up for the sound tube delete. Next item of business. Aha! See, normally I'd be unprepared, but I have a magnet. I see you. Come on. Aha! Yeah, don't leave loose parts laying around, especially while you're getting into the engine. Noted. Now that you have that piece out of the way, just pull this thing out, and then set that in your random arrangement of items that you don't need. And then over here, this is a coolant reservoir bracket relocator. I'm gonna have it oriented like this. Factory bolts will go in here and mount to the same spot, but this will be getting lifted. And what I'd recommend doing is trying to get this as up in the air as possible and make sure that you have the washer on both sides properly. Keep those together as well. Same thing on the other side. Now that we have that, we know this is the way that this is supposed to be oriented. So what I'm going to do next is take this piece and you're going to want to go underneath. Take that. I'm gonna try my best to get this pretty vertical so that way I've got the most clearance underneath as possible. Make sure that your cap and hoses are all tightened properly. Don't over tighten them, don't do anything that would cause damage to the hoses, but we don't want those coming off while we're moving the expansion reservoir around. Then you will need a, is this another 10? I think this is another 10. We'll see. It's either a 10, 11, or 12. I think we're working with a 12. Okay, so I have confirmed this is a 11mm. Actually, oh, hang on. I actually have a 11mm. Are you kidding me? Come on. I cannot believe I am currently having problems with probably the easiest part of this whole installation. This is ridiculous, but no matter. I'll make it work. Now that I've got that, I'm gonna run back for the 15th time because how dare I remember something while I'm near it. Allen keys. Easiest way to figure this out is to take one that is off of the car. I'm gonna go one step down from there, should be it. Okay, it's not it. What size are you? This is taking way more effort than I think it should. You'll need a 3/16 Allen, hex, whatever you want to refer to it as. Then I'm going to come back over here and see if I can find, there it is, medium-sized one. I'm going to do, since I'm going to be taking it that way, I'm going to get this set up so that way it can kind of counter against it and tighten. And don't fully tighten it down yet, just get it on there so that way it holds the other end up in place. I tightened this side, I'm going to bring in a little bit more, then go back to the other end just to make sure that they're both tightened down properly. Don't go too hard because it is kind of like an aluminum piece, so that can bend. Then what we need to do is try and see if we can get a little bit more room out from there. Some fidangling later. Basically what I did was, since I already attached it to this, I kind of loosened them so that way I can move it a bit more. And then once these are fully tightened down, what I would say to do is, you'll see back there kind of, maybe, there used to be this little pocket my fingers touching that the bottom of the reservoir would go into. That is no longer being used, so this needs to go back a little bit and then off to the side. And you can kind of just push these coolant hoses around. I do know that this component on 2011 to 14s, maybe newer years as well, this component does like to break, so keep that in mind. Also, I have already added one to my upcoming purchases. It is a aluminum piece that will replace this, so this doesn't crack under high temps. So in my case, this is about where the air intake is going to end for now. The next piece is supposed to be the heat shield. That will go in there. For now though, since I'm doing the Boss 302 manifold, I'm going to start taking the components off for that. Firstly, over here, similar to that clip we saw a few videos ago, we just push that forward, move that. That is the PCV breather. A lot of people end up running a filter on this or a air oil separator. I'm still kind of deciding on what I want to do, but I do know that at some point it's going to need one of the two. So we got this. That appears to be a 8. and then I will take this off. Obviously, with anything related to aluminum or sensitive components for the engine, try your best to get equal leverage as to not worry about snapping or stripping, and then be gentle with some of them. See, you just want to work it that way because you never know how long these have been on. Once you get that off, it is kind of stuck on there due to age and the gasket itself. Definitely take a look, see if it needs a cleaning. I'll probably clean up a little bit before I fully finish off the engine bay. But underneath here, you'll have this little pull tab again. What I'm gonna try and do is see if maybe I can get it started with this flathead, just to be a little bit easier on it. There you go. Just don't want to break any tabs that aren't necessarily needed to be broken. There you go. Just push it, slide it out to the left. It'll be good. Is that just standing oil? You are kidding me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, air oil separator will be purchased. Good Lord. Next up, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this off because I know this piece runs back for the right hand valve cover air breather. Pull that up and off. It should be an 8 mil from the looks of it. I think I am correct. Oh yeah, so just for better leverage so that way it doesn't feel like it's gonna snap, I'm gonna take that extension off. Then we will break this loose. There we go, perfect. That's all we need. Same thing here. Might need a shorter one. I got very lucky here. Take that off. Now I'm going to do, these have little holes so it's handy, but I'm just gonna be very gentle. It's pretty clear whenever you're putting the car back together which harness goes where, as they are different sizes. But I'm just going to get that pulled out of the way. Be gentle, it is kind of brittle. There we go. So that piece is done. And then for now, I'm probably just going to try and figure out if I can disconnect it. Next item, after I did all that, take the purge valve, all that breather. Then you've got the hoses here that need to go up and out of the way. You'll have 2 nuts on either side with the sound deadening foam. This piece will come up off, hose comes out of this tray and over to the side. And then once that's removed, all you should have to do after that is get ready to remove the fuel rail. What you need to be mindful of on the opposite side of the purge valve is this thing. This is a 2-in-1 hose clamp. It is a royal pain whenever it tells you to have another friend do it. Highly recommend it. Immediately following getting out those second pieces of the sound deadening, you've got an additional set of 10mm bolts. These are super long. These are just about the last thing holding your fuel rails in place. Now would be a good time to go around, disconnect all the injectors. Be very careful with these plugs. The older ones, I know my 3-valve had a problem with it. The next step is the unfortunate one. So I need to get a rag and get this prepared because it's going to shoot fuel immediately. I'm not sure how much, but we'll find out. What I'm going to do now is take some of these shop towels because they'll be more absorbent. And then I'm going to get some rubber gloves because I'm going to have to throw these away immediately. I'm just gonna leave them in a cardboard box, take them to my house so that way it doesn't stink up the shop, but this should be pretty entertaining. Open up our shop door so that way I can be prepared to run out instantaneously because I don't want this on the floor anywhere. Get under here, be careful with these. Push in, pull up gently. Why do you feel like you're going to break? Why do you feel like you're going to break? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna say that. 8. Now those are all unplugged. That means these are ready to move out immediately. Get your harnesses out of the way. The fuel should be able to just push them out. There we go. Next step, make sure that your plugs are out of the way. In orientation, they won't get damaged by lifting this up. Just kind of just pull them up over the wiring harness. Ah, that's what I wanted. All right, don't say you never learned anything here. There we go, a little bit of fuel left. Dump out a little bit of that. Ah, that's what I wanted to see. Get this out in as best of a manner as you possibly can. All right, I removed the 6 intake manifold bolts. I will show you what those look like and where they're at on the manifold. They don't come out, so if you do loosen those and they aren't coming out, that's normal. So for now, enjoy this no-cut attempt at me trying to get the manifold lifted out of the car by myself. This should be interesting. I'll start out down by the throttle body flutter. There we go. Now I'm gonna go around to the side. This car has a lot of swirls and stuff on the fenders, so not too worried about scratching your paint, but definitely advise getting some type of cloth to put over your fenders while you're moving all this around. Here, we have something missing in the back. I've made some very depressing revelations. So this whole time I've been struggling to look under there with that intake manifold. Oh, well, would you look at that? Yeah, I got a hood light for Christmas and I just simply did not put it on. I'm a very simple person. I do not ask for much, but whenever I do make sure it's worth it. Here's one. There's two. There we go. Oh, intake manifold out. First try. So yeah, as you see, I've got quite a bit of carbon buildup and oil in there. I do believe that I'm going to need a air oil separator, but whenever you pull this out, be sure that the green gaskets come out with it. Your Boss manifold should either have them pre-installed or they're in here. They're in here somewhere. I set them down earlier. I think they're like right under the manifold, but yeah, I do have the gaskets in there for that. So now I'm gonna continue to kind of let the gas air out from the area, and then I need to go outside, get the fuel rail, and get the GT 500 injectors ready. So yeah, as you'll see, these were those 6 bolts that are on both manifolds. They don't come out. This manifold being ported by 1320, they give you the gaskets in this bag, as well as the original Ford Racing badge for the top. All you've got to do is go around, make sure these are all sat in as best as possible. They will kind of pop out, so as you're going in with it, make sure you're just keeping those in as best as possible. There is going to be a little bit of a lip. That's where the throttle bodies portion will connect into. If you look on the back of this, you can kind of see where you need to clean up the mating surface a bit. Just make sure that seats in properly and you get no vacuum leaks. And you will, from time to time, after you get the car all back up and running, go around, make sure that everything's tightened to spec. These will be getting tightened down to 89 inch-pounds of torque. So I'm going to probably have to wait to do that until tomorrow. I am going to check with a few friends real quick to see if anybody has a torque wrench, because the one I have only goes down to 12 foot-pounds. Lightly clean around the mating surface. You can already see some of that yellowing around there. So I'm going to get some towels to put inside while I'm cleaning it out. Try and vacuum around the edge to get all of it away, then take the towels out. Next item, I'm going to try my best to re-zip tie that harness using these 2 spots over there. And then I don't have an inch-pounds torque wrench. I did look up, the rough conversion is 7.4 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to lightly use that. You'll do 1 pass. I will add a image of the pattern here for you to pause the video. And then once you do that first pass, go on the same sequence 1 more time. And then once you get that rating, add an additional 45 degrees of angle to it. Good news, intake is seated, is where it needs to be. You will notice though, unfortunately, the fuel rail isn't on because the factory fuel injectors are significantly shorter or longer than the MU52s from the GT500. So if you take a look here, those are quite a bit taller from where they would actually seat inside of the fuel rail. So I have to get height adapters, but that is not a big issue. It is 20 degrees outside, so this car is not going anywhere. All right, so on the original, you've got the retaining clip that goes at the bottom, holds it into place. With these being MU52s, I had to get these. From my understanding, with these, you're supposed to put them on the fuel rail side. And what that leaves me with is this. So now this is ready to go on after that whole conundrum. What I'm gonna do is try to get as many of these hoses down and out of the way as possible. All right, fuel rails are on. That was a royal pain. Make sure the injectors are sat in properly. And then our next step is going to be to get our 4 long bolts from before. Take these 4 bolts, you have to press down a little bit, but right here, back there, they're kind of next to these 4 studs you'll see. You do have to press down on them quite a bit, but once you feel, you gotta push down a bit so it can find the thread. There we go. To get these oriented, try and keep them as straight on with the manifold as possible. This is the torque sequence we'll be following. You'll be using the same measure of torque that you did to put down the 6 manifold bolts, 89 inch-pounds. I'm gonna set to 10 Newton meters, so I'm gonna watch my torque wrench here. Before we get too far, plug your injectors back in, because that would not be very good. there. There. What was that? All right, that's there. I'm gonna clip this fuel line back up. Go. That's not going anywhere. We've got these with their two respective nuts. Get them all finger tight, go back through with the socket and get them pretty well snug. It's nothing important, it's just a tray to hold your hose here. All right, so regarding the PMAS, you originally get sent one of these. If you have the Boss 302, you need to order one that ends in 352. The 350 is the original. Then I'd suggest putting that on here and letting it loosely orient until you can make sure that it's all lined up back there. And then from this portion, I'm going to try my best to figure out what lengths I need to set the intake to meet over at the heat shield. So I'm going to loosen this a little bit further, and then I'm going to pull it out to the proper length, and then I'll tighten it back from there. Should be good to tighten this back now, figure out where the end of the tube is. Get this as close to that as possible. Now we've got the intake back in place, I'm gonna come back here and get my MAF sensor. I'm gonna hold on to these just in case I ever need them again, but we do have Phillips for the new PMAS. It's on there snug. That's just moving because of the air gap there. Once we got this all done, should be able to take this, I'm gonna bend that. As I was talking about earlier, you will need to relocate that evap purge valve. This will have the fuel line going to this port on the Boss 302 manifold. Use one of those clamps, run it down to the old valve, and you will put the opposite end of this hose on the end with the blue O-ring. And then for now, I have it zip tied through a additional hole that is on the block of the engine. You can see right there where the zip tie is. There's another one there if you want to be closer. But once you're done with that, you'll still have this line that's coming over the valve cover up here by the cam sensors. And you will just hook that into the bottom of the evap. And you'll just hook that into the bottom of the purge valve. That will be that end right there. I need two hands to do it, but yeah, that's where you'll find it. Okay, that is on. Go around, check all your hoses, make sure everything's tightened down. Final piece is to get a tuner. So if you have all of these mods, you are going to need a tuner. So basically, with the intake volume for the Boss 302, it's not going to run very well on the factory tune, if at all. And then with me having new injectors and this air intake, it's overall just going to need a tune no matter what I do. Well, there's nothing else left to do. There we have it. She is done and ready to go. I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. I know things got a little bit spotty towards the end. If you have any questions over anything I might have missed or not gone over correctly, like I said before, comment. I can try and make some shorts on it or just answer in the comments. Tomorrow, I'm going to be getting it completely calibrated with my tuner. Tonight, pretty much everything is done. I'm gonna go underneath because I knocked that sound plug for the firewall behind my fender liner. So I'm gonna get up in the air, get that taken care of. But yeah, anyways, like, share, comment, subscribe. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of this car here soon. So yeah, see you guys in the next one.